2 years later, I finally stood in the ranks of the Cadet Corps. I thought putting on that uniform had brought me closer to the day I would drive the Titans out. But when Instructor Keith Sades looked at us, there was no hope in his eyes. He was only trying to find out how many of us would die and how many could learn to live like soldiers before that day came. He called each of us by name. He forced us to say where we came from and why we had joined. Some wanted the military police and a safe life behind the innermost wall. Some had nowhere else to go. But I had no doubts. I knew that one day I would have to go beyond the walls. I would join the Scout Regiment. I would drive every Titan out. While everyone else was frozen under Instructor Keith's glare, one girl was secretly eating a potato. Her name was Sasha. She actually tried to share it with him. For a moment, I almost laughed. A piece of food can keep you alive. It can also make you forget fear for a moment. But in the Cadet Corps, no one slows down because you are hungry, terrified, or grieving. At dinner, more and more cadets gathered around me. They wanted to know what had happened in Shiganshina. But as I spoke, all I could see was my mother's hand reaching toward us for the last time. I did not want anyone to think that day had broken me. I would join the Scouts. I would kill the Titans. I would make sure everyone who had lost someone still had a chance to fight back. Gene was the first one to laugh. He wanted to stay behind the safest walls. I did not understand him, and he did not understand me. We nearly came to blows right there at the table. The next day, we began learning to use omnidirectional mobility gear. It was humanity's closest thing to fighting back against Titans. First, you learn to control your posture. Then, you learn to control your body. Mikasa barely needed any time to hang steadily in the air. Armin did it too. One cadet after another passed. Only I failed. The moment I left the ground, my body lost control. I hung upside down like something thrown away. I tried again. I failed again. Once, then again. I had said I would kill every Titan. But if I could not even pass the most basic training, how could I go back beyond the walls? How could I protect Armin and Mikasa? Instructor Keith told me that if I could not pass the test, I would be sent to the reclamation fields. There was no shame in that. But to me, it meant staying inside the walls while others fought in my place. At dinner, people mocked my failure. Mikasa and Armin tried to help, but I knew that just because they could do it did not mean I could. That night, I went to Reiner and Bertholdt. They did not rush to comfort me. They listened. Reiner told me that fear was not shameful. What was truly frightening was admitting defeat in front of it. Bertholdt stayed and helped me check my movements, little by little. The next day, Instructor Keith gave me one last chance. Everyone was watching. I clenched my teeth and told myself I could not fall. For a moment, I thought I had done it. Then my body flipped over again. The world turned upside down. I thought every promise I had made would end with me hanging there like a fool. But Keith did not send me away. He told me to exchange gear with Thomas. When I took off my old belt and hung in the air again, I finally held steady. It was not that I was unfit to be a soldier. My belt had been broken. Even with damaged gear, I had managed to hold myself steady for a moment. Failure does not always mean you are weak. Sometimes, you just have not found what is truly making you fall. For the first time, I felt that I might fly beyond the walls. But the battlefield that could take everything from us was still ahead.